Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Welcome back to r/EntitledPeople, where you'll hear stories about people who think they can do no wrong because they're special. So guys, before we dive into the stories today, I gotta get you warmed up. So check this out. So this lady goes on a Facebook rant about a local food bank that gave her a Christmas meal. I'm shaking my head at this. I'm still shaking my head at this. So look at this. She says, seriously, with the thousands upon thousands of dollars being raised and food being collected, this is what the food bank gave us for Christmas dinner? I am stunned. Not even a bottle of juice for my children? Now, please don't get me wrong. I am forever grateful to have the resources of the food bank, but I just want to know where all that money and food went to. I got a turkey, a 5-pound bag of potatoes, 2 boxes of stuffing, a bag of carrots, a bag of apples, a bag of oranges, 1 can of string beans, 1 can of cranberry sauce, and a loaf of bread. I also got a box of chocolates and a dozen sugar cookies. Why did we not even get juice or butter? Oh my goodness gracious, my friends. Entitled choosing beggars are the absolute worst, aren't they? If you're in a situation where you need to use a food bank, you should be totally grateful for what they give you, not go on social media and put them on blast about juice and butter. Come on, if you can afford a phone and internet to post this, you can buy $1 juice and like $2 butter. I'm just saying. So one more, my friends, check this out. This person writes, I run an ice cream truck on the side to earn cash. Normally I park in the tourist hotspots during peak hours. So today, a young girl ran up to my truck and told her mother that she wanted ice cream. The mother told her no, as she didn't have any money. The girl was really cute and seemed excited, so I offered the mom a free ice cream as a spur-of-the-moment thing. The girl was happy, the mom was happy, and I was happy that they were happy. So after they left, a bogan woman quickly walked up to my truck and said she saw I was giving away ice cream and asked for 3 hundreds and thousands chocolate ice creams. Hundreds and thousands are a topping for her kids. I told her that I wasn't giving ice cream out and that was just a one-off. She was very annoyed at this, as she thought it was unfair that her kids were being denied free ice cream when I gave some to, quote, that Asian brat, as she put it. Okay, so up until now, I'm obviously not the a-hole, but I must admit that last comment along with her entitled attitude angered me. So I yelled out to a family sitting on the grass if they wanted free ice cream. The kids ran over excitedly and the parents thanked me. Mrs. Bogan is really worked up now, calling me names. I repeated the act to a family walking past and gave them each a freebie. At this point, she stormed off infuriated, and I felt a little happy at how mad I made her. I absolutely love this, guys. I love when entitled people do not get what they want. It's the little wins in life, my friends. So if you guys think those two were entitled, the stories today are on another level, guys. So the first story, OP shuts down a Karen. The second story, and the one that you're here for, is an insane story, guys, where OP deals with her fiance's mother that absolutely destroys her reputation. The third, OP tells a story about her mother, and guys, we'll finish off with another insane story about a cray-cray mama bear. My friends, I do hope you enjoy the stories today, and hit that subscribe button if you aren't subscribed. Let's dive in. So this just happened, and I'm actually kind of proud of it. So a little bit of backstory. I stay with my kids during the day and work nights. My husband and I have opposite shifts so we can save on daycare. Because of this, I usually don't go grocery shopping during the week because it can be difficult getting my kids through the store. I remembered that I was supposed to get party supplies for work today because one of the ladies there is going on mat leave and I had volunteered to help set up a party for her. So off to the store we all go and everything goes surprisingly well. I'm heading to check out at the self-scanner when it happens. I feel a tap on my shoulder, followed by the "excuse me" that we all know and dread. So I turn around, which was my mistake. Despite the tone used, the lady seemed relatively normal, until she started talking. She said, "Excuse me, this won't scan." I look around and she's definitely talking to me. Now, I would normally help even if someone's rude because why not? However, her tone and pitch was harsh enough that my daughter started clinging to my arm. The lady said again, "Excuse me, hello, a little help here?" I'm just focused on my daughter, rubbing her back because I can feel her starting to freak out. How this lady thought I could help is beyond me. I don't work there and I was dressed like I literally rolled out of bed. Fortunately, the self-checkout attendant shows up and asks what the problem is. The lady says, "This won't scan, and this person," gesturing to me, "is no help." The lady turns back to me while the attendant tries to ring them up for her, and she says, "You are so rude. Are you deaf or something?" Now, at this point, I still had not said a word to her, and the idea hit me. like a friggin' beautiful rainbow wrapped in lightning. I am not deaf, but me and my kids are all learning American Sign Language. I just started learning it, so I can ask basic questions and can sign the Baby Shark song. Don't ask, my kids love it. Smiling the biggest frickin' smile I can manage, I started signing. It makes no sense. I'm basically saying, how are you? Do you want food? What's your name? Baby Shark do. I swear I've never seen somebody lose color in their face so fast in my entire life. It was glorious. She got her items, paid, and practically ran out of there, the attendant trying her best not to laugh. I turned to the attendant and said cheerfully, "Have a nice day," and she and I shared a good laugh, and I went home. Guys, I love how quick-witted OP was and totally shut that Karen down. I also love this comment right here for all of you anime fans out there. It had me rolling. This person writes, "My cousin did that once a few years back. However, she doesn't know any sign language, so she just used the Naruto Jutsu hand signs instead. It did not work." So before we dive into this next story, my friends, I want to make it clear that just because I read a story out loud does not mean I'm inviting people to poke fun at, expose, agree, or disagree with anybody's beliefs. Please do not use the next story as a way to attack anybody in the comment section, as one person's situation does not reflect all of them. Guys, with that said, we're about to dive into a wild story, so get ready. It's important to note that I am 30 years old now, so this happened when I was still in high school. So I met this guy when I was 16 and we started dating. Fast forward 2 years and we were both out of high school and engaged. Looking back on it, an 18-year-old has no business being engaged. Anyway, my then fiance had been raised Mormon. He and his family wanted me to convert to the religion, as that's what was expected by me and everybody in this big Mormon family. So I went through all the lessons and got baptized in the church. This part is important. His family was Air Force, so they moved around a lot. So shortly after he proposed, his family moved to Colorado, so the relationship became long distance. So that summer when he came to visit, things got hot and heavy and we ended up losing our virginity to each other. Now, I had been raised to save myself for marriage and figured since I was engaged to the guy, who at the time was the love of my life, it was basically the same thing, which was a big mistake. So a few days later, he gets the typical Mormon guilt and decides to tell both of his parents and his bishop at the church. The next thing I know, my mom gets a call from fiance's mother telling her that I am no longer welcome at their home. When my mom asked why, she was told that Jezebels and harlots are not welcome in their house of the Lord. Because, quote, "My son would have never been tempted or agreed to any of this if your daughter wasn't such a temptress." So at this point, my mom goes off on her, telling her that she hates to break it to her, but it takes two to tango, and she might want to have a conversation with her son, as he was more than capable of making that decision on his own, as we are both 18 years old. His mother then hangs up in my mom's face, and for the next 2 weeks proceeds to make a point to call our house at least twice a day, leaving messages on our answering machine about how much of a whore I am, how God hates me, and I should be ashamed of myself. At this point, I honestly had no experience in handling any of this and would be reduced to tears on the daily. So from a religious perspective, I understand the value of chastity before marriage. But when you resort to acts of harassment and slander is beyond my comprehension even to this day. She even said that I'm not good enough for her son and that he should find somebody else. Now, you might be asking what consequences befell my fiance during all of this. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He told his parents and they forgave him and told him that he was a victim and not responsible. His bishop, the Mormon equivalent to a pastor, told him to ask God for forgiveness and read his scriptures daily. To make matters worse, his mother decides to make a phone call to the bishop at my church and tell him everything that happened, saying that I am no longer pure. The next thing I know, I'm getting pulled into his office and told that my sin was only second to murder, and that God and His grace have abandoned me. I was beside myself in tears. Furthermore, I was told that I was no longer allowed to teach Sunday school, and I wasn't permitted to sit with anybody during sermon. That's right, I was made to sit by myself and separate myself from everybody just to drive the point home that I wasn't worthy to sit with anybody else. The whole experience was absolutely horrific and caused me a lot of trauma that I had to work through as a result. His mother still maintains to this day that I am the worst person on the face of this planet and that her son is a saint. Needless to say, we broke off our engagement, canceled the wedding plans, and went our separate ways thanks to his parents. You know what though, I think OP dodged a bullet. Imagine her fiance's mom finding out after they were married. Guys, that could have been way worse, especially when he showed he took his mom's side and didn't even have a damn backbone to defend his girlfriend when he was equally as guilty. So OP has an update and it reads, after I stopped going to sacraments or the ward in general, the Mormon missionaries would routinely sit outside of my house waiting for either me or my mom to get home. When I moved to a new city, they continued to sit outside of my mom's house to ask where I was. Somehow they found out where I'd moved, transferred my records to that ward, and the harassment continued. It took 5 years and a cease and desist letter from a lawyer to get them to leave me alone and to remove my name from the church records. So my friends, OP also finishes off with this. She writes, I'm not religious at all anymore. You don't have to have a religion to be a good person, and truth be told, those that claim religion tend to be the worst garbage people I've ever met. They hide behind theology as a justification for treating people like trash. So yeah, after going through massive amounts of therapy to reprogram my brain out of thinking that I was nothing but trash, I left all organized religion and I've never looked back. Since then, now at 30 years old, I have spent every day since rebuilding everything that he broke. I refuse to ever be treated like that by anyone ever again. 3 years ago, I, a 24-year-old female, decided to move my mom, who's 61 years old, in with me when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had multiple surgeries coming up and was not physically capable of taking care of herself. She's cancer-free now, but is not in great health. She can't work and draws disability. The first year to year and a half wasn't bad, but the last year and a half to 2 years, she has been a nightmare. She constantly trashes the house, leaves food laying around for days, destroys things, has sketchy characters coming in and out that are on drugs, yells and cusses me out, tells me I'm a bad person, and I could keep going on forever. A few weeks ago, I told her that I was done and she needed to move out. She pays me $300 out of her check, which takes care of rent, cell phone, house insurance, electric, cable, water, and some food. I told her starting in October, I was gonna start taking out $300 and putting it into a savings account until there was enough money for her to move. When she got paid in October, she gave me the money. So today, she calls me at work and demands her $300, stating that it's her money to do as she pleases with. I asked her why she needs the money so bad, and she says because she wants to go to vacation to Miami. I explained to her that $300 she gave me is rent money, as in a bill. She then goes on to tell me that I'm stealing from her, that that's her money and I have to give it back to her. When I continued to say no, she started stating that next month she's gonna save the money herself. Me, knowing that she'll probably blow the money rather than saving it, I tell her that she either gives me $300 a month to put in savings, or she has to move out by the end of the month, since she's no longer paying rent at this point. So at this point, she starts yelling at me and telling me I'm a bad person and a horrible child. That no other kid would treat their mother the way I treat her. That since she's my mother, she deserves to live with me for free and shouldn't have to pay anything. That the money she gets should only be for her and what she wants. So she's now refusing to move out or pay me rent, and she tells me that she'll move out when she's ready. I had to contact my landlord and explain the situation. When she gets her next check, if she doesn't pay me, my landlord and I will be getting her evicted. It just dumbfounds me that she thinks that her 24-year-old daughter, who works full-time and goes to school full-time, should supply her with a place to live and accessories for free because she's my mother. I make good money for my age, but she acts like I'm a money tree. My friends, it always baffles me when parents use their kids as a free ride. Like, yeah, you raised them, you provided for them, but that in no way means that the kids owe their parents everything. Now guys, I don't want to sound heartless, but OP did state that her mother is now cancer-free. I do think at the very least she should try to pull her own weight and let her daughter live her own life. She's only 24, she can't take care of her mother forever. Like, as heartless as it sounds, OP has to live her own life, guys. She really does. So, I'm not sure if this even matters, but I'm a white 24-year-old female and my ex-boyfriend and his family are all black. The whole incident starts about a week ago at my ex-boyfriend's mother's house. It was her birthday celebration and was a pretty large-scale event with lots of their friends and family attending. His mother and I have never had a great relationship, even before all of this happened. She's made it very clear to me in no uncertain terms on several occasions that she doesn't approve of me being with her son, accusing me from everything to being a gold digger to having jungle fever. despite all that, I'm given an invitation. Out of obligation, if nothing else, and I decide that I'm gonna go all in and put my best foot forward. I put on my best outfit, get my makeup done, and have my mom, who's a hairstylist, do my hair. I have her braiding about a quarter of my hair into cornrows, and with the rest of it being my normal short hair, being spruced up and covering one of my eyes. Now, I was running late from having to work that day and having to get myself ready, so when I show up at the house, the party is already in full swing. I notice that I'm getting a few looks from his family members, and at first, I think it's just my mom's hard work paying off, especially when one of his little cousins comes up to me and tells me how pretty I look. I finally managed to find my boyfriend in the backyard, hanging with his mom. I come up to say hi and to give hugs, but when she looks at me, she gives me this death glare like I just spit in her face. She starts off on this rant and starts off with, "Look at this girl," and divulges into a full-blown tirade with her screaming at me. I'm going to be paraphrasing a bit since I don't remember verbatim exactly what was said, but the core of it was her calling me a racist for having the nerve to show up with my hair braided, how I was using black culture to look pretty, without having to experience the hardships that community goes through. Now, I'm straight up sobbing as I try to defend myself, and she's mocking me for crying, and the entire time her family members, including my boyfriend, are straight up indifferent or encouraging her, and my boyfriend falls into the indifferent category. My boyfriend walks me to the door with his mom continuing to mock the fact that I'm crying. He tells me he'll see me back in my place later and goes back to the party. I was pretty hurt by that and spent a good chunk of my time in the car trying to collect myself before I managed to calm down enough to drive home. I had thought that my boyfriend was there sticking up for me, or at least telling her that she overreacted. But as I found out later, that wasn't the case. When he showed up to my place, he said he did not approve of how his mom handled the situation, and also told me that he understands why she did what she did, and that what I did was wrong and racist. He then told me I needed to apologize to his mom right away, and to all of his family in a few months, at the family reunion. He told me if I couldn't do that, then he couldn't see the relationship working out. Long story short, we ended up breaking up after I made it clear that I'm not going to apologize, with him saying that if I don't get it, he can't explain it to me. Part of me is happy that I don't have to deal with this anymore, but I think I'm more angry and sad that his mom has him so thoroughly wrapped around her finger that I had to give up on a guy that I thought was the one. Yet another story where OP dodges a bullet. I hope you find love and happiness with somebody else, OP. Actually, for both OPs in this episode, where the mother-in-law is absolutely ridiculous. You know what they say though, 3 years down the drain will save you a lifetime of pain. I just made that up, but it rhymes, and it sounds right. Guys, and that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /Entitled If you guys enjoyed the stories today, do hit the thumbs up, and if you missed the last episode, a Karen lets her 4-year-old trespass on OP's farm and endangers her. Check it out if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you.